Welcome to Soul Loom, a space where the threads of lived experience, energy, and insight are gently woven into a path of remembering, reconnection, and becoming. Today, we're exploring the meeting point of spirituality and technology, not in the digital sense, but through what my guest calls authentic intelligence. And my guest today is Leonie Branson. Leonie is a life coach, a speaker, and author of Spiritual AI, Activating Authentic Intelligence. Through her work, she helps individuals reconnect with their intuitive awareness, what she describes as our inner technology, so that we can navigate life with greater clarity, purpose, and conscious connection. Leonie, welcome to Soul Loom.
Thank you so much for having me on, Michelle. I just want to put it out there, right? You are the first person who has introduced me as Leonie Branson.
With your new name.
Especially since this has like literally happened yesterday, which is the 11th of the 11th, right? And as you said the name, I was like goosebumps tingling all over. I was like, that sounds so right. So yeah, I'm so happy to be here. So if for your listeners, you'll hear through the podcast, you talk about the book Spiritual AI. It is still under my previous name, Du Toit, but that will change in the new year. But yes, thank you so much. That was just beautiful.
You're welcome. I was wondering how you would react to that because I was pretty sure you hadn't heard it out loud very much.
Yeah, no, it sounds beautiful. Energetically, it feels amazing.
Fantastic. And that's what you're after. So it's good that it's having that effect.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'd love to begin by hearing a little bit about your journey. So how you came to this work as a life coach and what ultimately led you to writing Spiritual AI.
I love that question. It's full of potential for me to answer. So let me start a little bit with my background. I'm originally from South Africa. I've been in Perth in Australia now for close to 20 years. And like with most people, I think life just kind of shaped me. Life gave me, parents who could give me opportunities for growth and learning lessons. And life has kind of just set me up in this way. And when I when I was in school still from a very young age, actually, I knew that I wanted to work with people and that I wanted to help them. I remember one day we went camping with my parents, and there was this young girl on a trampoline jumping, and her dad was there too. So I hopped onto the trampoline with her, very excited, only to find out that she was deaf and she couldn't communicate with me. And that kind of stirred something deep inside of me. And I went away there and I was like, I need to be able to help people, deaf people. I need to be able to do sign language. So I kind of went down this rabbit hole, and that has been my entire life. I have met people that stirred something within me, and I knew that by the time I hit my last year of school, grade 12, I knew that I wanted to work with people and help people, and I wanted to become a psychologist. And well, my grades weren't good enough, right? Life has set me up, and I had a lot of little knocks like that showed me from an outside perspective that I wasn't good enough. So I couldn't study psychology. And then I decided, okay, well, what's the next best thing? And it was teaching, because you could still help students, right? You can still teach them. And I wasn't good enough. My grades were still not good enough to be able to even become a teacher. So I ended up going into retail, and life kind of just took on its own life form. It was in the early 2000s that I wanted to start studying reflexology and aromatherapy. And my dad, in all his wisdom, I love him very much, said to me, Leonie, I don't think that's the right path. Nobody knows what it is. And I left it. And then in 2007, we had just been in Perth for a year. That was the first thing I studied, because my intuition and my soul knew that I needed to step into the holistic side of life, right? And then that led on to me studying sound healing. So I've got a diploma in sound healing. I'm a Reiki practitioner, and I've studied and done a lot of things along the way. And all of the studies, all of the life experiences has kind of shaped me into this person that I am today, this transformational coach. I'm not bound by the traditional coaching framework. The way that I work with my clients is kind of, I have this trifecta approach where I use transformational coaching, which is life has given me, that's intuitive to help my clients. And then I've got the spiritual teacher in me helping clients. And I've also got the healer side of me. So when you come for a session, that's part of who I am. And it's kind of set me up on this journey. And then also along the way, I've created courses and I've run masterclasses, and I've previously published a couple of journals and another little book called Am I Psychic? And life has kind of brought me to this point, which was in the beginning of this year, where I was about to launch 2 really big programs. And my soul just said, no, pull everything. And after months of hard work, I had 4 other lovely experts that were going to go on this journey with me to support clients. My soul just said no, and I told them, I'm sorry, I can't. My soul is telling me to stop. And I listened and I pulled everything off the internet. I pulled off my website. I changed everything on Facebook and Instagram. You know all the work that goes into it. And the next message that I got was, right. And for the better part of this year, I just pulled back. I stopped seeing clients. I literally just went on this really deep spiritual journey of writing the book, Spiritual AI, The Authentic Intelligence. And it's got nothing to do with artificial intelligence, like you've mentioned. So it's about awareness and intuition. And it just happens to be, it's my passion, it's my mission, awareness and intuition. And AI, awareness and intuition, there's just this beautiful play. So that's where Spiritual AI kind of was born. And my mission is to bring awareness and intuition to the world. So yeah, that was a long way around, but that's kind of my journey.
It's so interesting though, because I think those of us who have chosen, and I'll use life coach for the want of a better word,
Yes.
who have chosen that path of turning our lived experience into a support mechanism for other people, and like yourself, probably women, because that's the audience I work with. I think I see a lot of people on the socials talking about wanting to be a coach or a life coach, and how do I get certification? And I actually saw something on a social yesterday about it. And I suddenly thought, the fact that you're calling yourself a life coach, it's not really about a piece of paper. It's about that lived experience that for some of us, we've been through, and we're doing the healing, which never ends. It's a constant thing. We never ever finish that process.
Yeah.
And it's more around being able to then use that lived experience to help other people in a similar situation. So I love that you just mentioned that, because it was something that I was thinking about consciously yesterday.
Yeah. You have these life experiences, and then like you said, most of us, we go through these life experiences, but we actually integrate it and we do the work, and then we are able to help other people. And I had this thought as you were talking. I was thinking, well, if you go to a life coach and they haven't experienced any like experiences in life that I kind of set them up in a way and they can help you in a very specific way, then I don't know. Should there be a life coach? But then that's also, like, I understand there's a lot around that. But most of us definitely go through trauma, life experiences, and we do the work, and then we are able to help you with your own life experiences.
It was just interesting that I just happened to be reading that yesterday. I had my head in that space.
Yeah.
So you write about the concept of authentic intelligence as something innate, a deeper awareness that lives within all of us. And I definitely believe that myself. So can you share what that means to you and how it differs from artificial intelligence, which is the buzzword at the moment and all we ever seem to hear about?
Yeah. I actually went down the rabbit hole with something else that I saw from another practitioner a week ago, and what I want people to understand is that artificial intelligence, even though it sounds intelligent, if you hop on ChatGPT, it can give you answers, it can source things for you. It is a language model. It has been trained by individuals, by human beings who have their own faults, their own limiting beliefs. So be very mindful when you use artificial intelligence to source wisdom, to source, help with healing and doing the inner work, right? So for me, the authentic intelligence, awareness, and intuition is the two most important senses that I feel that we have as human beings, that is innate and that we need to develop and that we are born with. So I believe that, most people believe that we've got 5 senses. Then there are the group of people who believe we've got 6 senses. And usually that 6th sense is the one that's called the intuition. I believe we've got 7. There might be more, but for me right now, I believe we've got 7. And the first 2 senses, the first real sense is awareness. So you come into the world and you become aware of your world. And then as you kind of grow and develop, you have that inner sense, which is your intuition, but I call it the voice of your soul, right? We are all born with it. So whether you are religious, whether you're on a spiritual journey or not, whether you are an atheist and you don't believe, you are born with those senses. It's not a spiritual woo-woo thing. So awareness and intuition are the 2 senses that truly can help us as human beings connect back in with who we are. Now, when we are born and we kind of come into society, the schooling system is set up to kind of lead us away from awareness and intuition. When you get into the classroom, they tell you to sit still, don't talk, ask permission. That takes us away from awareness, and it takes us away from our creativity, our soul expression, and the intuition. So my goal is to bring back awareness and intuition as a foundation in society so that we can stop struggling. Because when you start tapping into your own sense of awareness and you become aware of what's happening around you and what's happening for you in your life, you can then start listening to your intuition as well. And then that will help you understand who you are. It will help you navigate your relationships and friendships. It will help you choose a career that feels aligned, and then you live a happy life. You're not stuck in a cubicle somewhere because somebody told you that's what life should be like. So I'm really passionate about bringing awareness and intuition back into the conversation when it comes to self-development. I believe that, I will drop this in there, you will know this, I know this, most people who have done the work over decades know that awareness and intuition is a byproduct of doing the work. Now, we've had to build this up slowly over time. And when you look at people out there like Tony Robbins and Oprah Winfrey and Brene Brown and all those people out there, they use awareness and intuition on a daily basis. But they don't talk about it because it was such a gradual thing, and it's something that they've built up over time. It is 2 senses that those leaders in the world, they use it on a daily basis, but they're not consciously teaching it to their audiences. And this is what I want to accomplish with this book, is I want to bring awareness and intuition to the forefront so that people, coaches, leaders like you and myself, that we can take the awareness and intuition and insert it into the conversation, because it's going to fast track the experience for our clients and for humanity. It's just going to bring us back to us. And it's going to, artificial intelligence can disconnect us from the authentic intelligence. So there's this very fine line. So use artificial intelligence for research, use it to help you navigate through various different things, but always come back to the authentic intelligence which is inside of you. That's where I'm coming from with the whole awareness and intuition thing.
Yeah, because I have noticed, and I mean, I use chat all the time. I use it now
same.
instead of Google, because it's a much better research tool.
Absolutely.
And I mean, my background is in vocational education. So I've always researched, I've always developed content. So it's a time saver for me. But I've noticed a lot of comments lately on the socials around how people are now using it as sort of, the counselor and the mentor, because you can ask it those questions and it does deep dive into what is available out there, which is no different to opening a psychology textbook or anything else. And it speaks to you in those terms if you're asking it the right questions. But I think what people have to learn is that if you can trust that intuition, it allows you to actually hear through that language. That language is great to get you thinking about what your situation could be, whether you're looking at that from an emotional intelligence perspective or a psychology perspective. But understanding how to then feel into it intuitively is the thing that AI, the tool, cannot give you.
No.
And I work with my clients very much the same way, in that we all have it. We all have intuition. We just don't hear it until we turn all the other noise down. So in your book, you talk about it as our inner technology, and it's a system that's available to all of us. We all have it. We can access it whenever we want. I'm probably like you. I'm intuitively living every moment all the time, and it does become so automatic you don't think about it. So how can we begin to trust and activate that intuitive intelligence in our everyday life?
So there's a couple of things that I want to share there first before I dive into how do we connect to the intuition side, right? The first thing is that you cannot recognize your intuition if you don't have a sense of awareness. Awareness is the first foundation that you have to lay. Without awareness, you cannot recognize the intuition. And there's this beautiful dance. I talk about this dance in my book, where there's this dance between awareness and intuition. You always have to stay in awareness so that you can recognize the intuition. But when you've received the intuition, you've got to stay in awareness again to receive the next intuition, right? So there's this beautiful dance there. The other thing that I wanted to just quickly explain is to just kind of bring it home. I want to share two little stories really quickly to just give the listener an understanding of when we say awareness and intuition is part of who we are. It's not a spiritual woo-woo thing, right? Yes, it helps with spiritual development, but it is a very physical thing that we use on a daily basis. So for me, in the mornings when I get up, have a cup of coffee, I'll go out. I'm usually up around 5, and I'll go sit outside, have a cup of coffee, and then I will pull off. I've got quite a bit of like berry and fruit trees in the back garden. And what I would go is I will go and pull snails off the pots and, off the ground, and I'll get rid of them, right? I use my intuition to help me with this. So when I'm busy pulling snails off the goji berries, especially because the snails love the plant, I will, when I look at the plant and physically can't see any more snails, I go, are there any more? And a number will drop into my head, and I will know that number that's dropped into my head is the number of snails still on the plant that I still need to remove. Right?
And do you count them and test it?
Hey? I can count it. Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. If my intuition says there's one more, then I look for that one until I find it, because I know it's there, right? So it can help you in your gardening. Then there's another one, as a parent. So when my daughter was, she's almost 20 now, but when she was like 1.5, when she was going from her cot to her big girl bed, first bed, right? She got really sick and she had this huge fever, and she was the poor thing was like in a terrible way. So I put her in bed and I kneeled and I sat on the floor next to her bed, and I was kind of gently stroking her face because it was soothing for her and it kind of helped her fall asleep. And in a moment, I had this thought pop into my head, she's going to throw up all over you. And I looked at her and she looked so peaceful. But before I could even finish that thought, she looks peaceful, it's going to be okay. Her little body shot up out of bed and she threw up all over me like I was a hot mess, right? And I just remember thinking, could my intuition not give me just a little bit more time? So as a parent, as a gardener, as a mechanic, as a mum at home running out the house and you're forgetting the kids' school lunches, your intuition can help you remember all those things. So if you haven't started tapping into intuition yet, really you have to get into it. Now, let's get into how do I teach my clients to tap into their intuition. Now, there's so many different exercises out there, but I've got one exercise that takes you through all the stages of intuition, right? So intuition there's essentially, I've narrowed it down to like 4 stages, right? There's the receiving of the intuition, then there's the acknowledgement of the intuition, then there's the acting on the intuition, and then there's the celebration or the reflection of the intuition, right? So in this game that I teach my clients, it's called the traffic light game. It gives you all 4 the stages, and it helps you build that relationship with your intuition. Now, anybody can do this, whether you're walking, whether you're on a bus, whether you're in your car. The next time you stop at a traffic light, I want you to expect a number to drop into your head, okay? That number that drops into your head is going to sound like your own voice. It's not going to sound like somebody else's voice, right? So I teach you, in the book, I teach you how to recognize your intuition. I'll just share the game with you today. So when you're driving in your car, you're stopping at the traffic light, you expect a number to drop into your head. When that number drops into your head, you start counting out loud. So the acknowledgement of receiving it, you start counting out loud and the acting on it. That number down to 0. So if you're driving and the number 5 drops into your head when you park, you start counting down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When you get to 1 or 0, the light will turn green for you. There's that instant validation, right? Then when you get that instant validation, it is then time for you to celebrate. Fist pump says, yes, I got it. Play the game with the kids however you want to, but acknowledging that you received it, acknowledging that you acted on it, and then receiving the instant feedback helps rewire the neural pathways in your mind, and it helps starts telling your subconscious mind that it is safe to trust your intuition. So I find that this is the most powerful game to help people with all stages of recognizing the intuition, listening, hearing it, acting on it, and then instant feedback, that instant validation, that dopamine hit that you get from it, right? I always put this disclaimer there. When you get to 1 or 0, don't just put your foot down and go. Because sometimes we get it wrong, right? Even myself, there are days where I get it wrong. But when I get it wrong, I know that I am quite often in a rush and I'm in my head and I'm not in my heart connected. So yeah, that's the game that I give my clients and I share in the book as well to help people develop this beautiful sense intuition.
I love that you offered that game for the audience, because I think it's so often that we don't know how to test whether what we're getting is it our intuition, or is it just coincidence, or did I make it up in my head? It's like the game we play when we're asking for signs. And I always say to people, always ask for something that's not so random that it's never going to happen, but it's unusual enough that you'll go, okay, that can't be a coincidence. So I love that traffic light analogy. That's amazing.
Yeah, beautiful.
So you've mentioned to me that you've actually started a group in Perth where you live for women over there called the Evolution Room. Would you like to tell us more about why you started that and what it's for?
Yeah, thank you so much, Michelle. So the Evolution Room has kind of come out of my own journey from, going through, I call it the gap, like a great awakening point where you feel like life just doesn't make sense anymore. You might be going through a divorce or a breakup, or you start questioning life and going, there must be more to life. Excuse me. There could also be, you could also be thinking, and I went through this, I want to serve, but how can I serve? What is the soul expression that wants to come out? So we find ourselves in like this gray zone where we want guidance, we want connection. And I created the Evolution Room around this, and serving women who find themselves in the gap, who find themselves at that point where they want to serve, but they don't know how to step into that space. And, you know, when we talk about stepping into that space in entrepreneurship, that is the biggest part of that journey is the inner work. It is the mindset work. It is the getting connected to your awareness and your intuition, being guided by your intuition to help you through this process. So I wanted to create this community where we meet fortnightly, we come together and we look at what are the things that are holding us back. We work a little bit on the business side of things. So because of all the experience that I have and, you know, running my own business and being an entrepreneur, I can give them foundational things around starting up the business, what they can look at, how to find their purpose, how to find the clarity around what it is they want to create. And then also the second half of the meeting, we work on the mindset stuff, right? What is the mindset? What is the limiting beliefs that are there? What are the blocks? What are the traumas that we've gone through? How can we transform those so we can step into? So I wanted to create this space, and now I have done this because I know also one of the things that we struggle with on this journey is isolation. A lot of women feel really, really isolated. And I isolated myself. I'm because I'm a little bit of an introvert, I'm quite happy at home, but I've also seen the effects of the isolation. So I've started getting out there networking, and it's literally changed the way that I feel about myself, how I run my business, how, you know, clients come to me. So I know the value of getting out and connecting with other people. And that's why I created the Evolution Room, to support women. And I wanted to make it local because I feel like there's so much online and there's so much, you know, Zoom, and there's so much AI out there that you can connect with and ask questions to. But as humans, we need the connection. So that's why I created the space. And we've got our first meeting coming up on Sunday. I know that it won't be in alignment with the podcast release, but, you know, it runs fortnightly. And yeah, I would love to be there for other women in a way that I know that there wasn't somebody for me. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. Yeah.
I think that's a really important thing to talk about too, because regardless of how we come to this space, what you do tend to start finding happens is that as your awareness becomes more aware, for the want of a better word, and your intuition becomes louder, that's happening because your actual energy and your alignment is improving. And often that then coincides with those people who don't match your frequency anymore do tend to drift away. And when you are not aware of the process, it can be quite alarming, because you sort of start to think, why are all of these people just not there anymore? And I mean, I'm lucky. I mean, I grew up with these sort of practices in my life since I was a teenager. So it's not something that actually surprised me, but I know it surprises a lot of people. And the foundational work around that is so important. And I'm passionate around that. I mean, I think so many people come into this space kind of in the middle, and there's a lot of assumed knowledge by practitioners that you understand the jargon and you understand the process. But nobody stops and says, okay, you need to stop and be mindful. You need to stop and be present. You need to meditate in some way or other. You need to ground. You need to protect. There's this foundational level of practices that we need that help us manage all the stuff that's happening. So I think to be able to bring that into a live space and teach that is so very important. And for people who are listening who don't have access to that, feel free to reach out and ask questions, and we can guide you
Absolutely.
at least how to achieve that. But it sounds amazing. So I'll be looking forward to hearing how that goes. And when you listen to this, if anyone has friends in Perth that they think would benefit from that that connection, please let them know and share this information with them.
Absolutely. And, you know, like, yes, the Evolution Room is for Perth-based women to connect, on a fortnightly basis. My clients, though, is global, right? So if you do need help, like Michelle said, reach out. If you feel drawn to Michelle, reach out. She's got a beautiful community as well. So reach out to her and, connect with her, because then this is where awareness and intuition comes in, right? If you feel drawn to somebody, you are meant to be there for a reason, okay? If you're feeling drawn to Michelle, reach out to Michelle and work with her. Ask the questions and see. Trust your intuition. Where is it leading? If you feel drawn to me, ask the questions. Can I speak to you, Leonie? Have a conversation with me. Where is this leading? And I want to put this in there too, because you are going to inevitably, it's going to be inevitable. Somewhere along the line, you are going to feel drawn to somebody, and you are going to maybe sign up to a product, or you're going to have an experience with them that is not so nice. And then you're going to question yourself, and you're going to go, was I wrong? Was my intuition wrong? And quite often, those experiences wasn't the wrong thing. It was to teach you something. It gave you the opportunity to step up for yourself and say, no, I don't want to do this. Or to step up and say, no, you're not the right person for me. And it helps you learn about boundaries and standing up for yourself. So awareness and intuition really runs through everything that we do. And if you, like Michelle was saying about the foundational work, like meditation and smudging and, crystals and whatever foundational work you want to tap into. But if you have awareness and intuition, you will have a better understanding as to which of those modalities, which coaches you have to go to for yourself, because not everybody's journey is the same. So if you can get a strong foundation, start with awareness and intuition, build that up, and it's going to make the rest of the stuff just make sense.
Yeah. Because you learn very easily how to lean into what's working for you. And I'm a great proponent of saying, if you try something and it doesn't kind of work for you within a good couple of weeks, or you just have this feeling of like, that's too hard, it's not for you. And that's your intuition going, drop it like a hot potato. And there is, I mean, you'll have a whole lot of random stuff come across your path. And I tend to say and this is how I approached everything, was just like, just do it. If it seems weird, crazy, ridiculous, just do it, because it's your way of learning how to trust. And the more you do, and the more that either works or falls over, the more you then learn to go, okay, I kind of knew that was going to happen. I'll trust that feeling. And
absolutely.
And you also have to learn how you receive your intuition, because everybody receives it differently. Can you talk a little bit to that, so people understand what they could be experiencing?
Okay, so so there's a couple of things there. So intuition, I believe, comes to all of us in pretty much the same way. Then after intuition, that's when we start talking about the psychic senses, your clairvoyance. That's the sight, the sound, the smell, the touch, the sense. So there's fine line. But when it comes to intuition, I believe that the voice of your soul, your intuition, comes to most of us, pretty much all of us, in the same way. And it comes in a very soft, gentle voice, and it generally drops into your head. It doesn't shout. It will never tell you to do something to hurt yourself or hurt somebody else. And it always comes really quick, in like 1-2 seconds at the most. And then usually every thought that comes after that is your subconscious mind trying to talk you back into a safe space. So your intuition will come in really quickly. And that's how, you remember how with the traffic light game, I said, when you stop at the light, you want to expect a number to drop into your head. That number is going to drop into your head as your own thought really quickly. If you don't act on it, it's going to go. Okay? So that's intuition. I feel like intuition comes in exactly the same way for everybody. It is soft, it's gentle, it's always there. If you don't have the awareness, you won't hear the gentle voice. That's when I said, remember when I said that if I'm rushing around, I am out of that grounded state. I'm out of a space of awareness. And that then stops me from hearing my intuition. That intuition, that voice is always there. Okay.
And I
Now,
think one of
yeah.
the best examples for people who are like, I don't know, is that thought you get before you're about to leave the house where you go, take your umbrella.
Yeah.
And then
That's
right.
intuition. Yeah.
And that's your intuition. It's those weird, what you think are just random thoughts that you go, oh, I knew I should have grabbed it.
Oh,
And
that's silly. Why do I think
we've
that?
all
Yep.
we've all
We've
had that happen.
all. It's, we can talk about it in the other way as well. Now, there is another part of the gut feeling so I don't like really calling it the gut feeling, but most people know it as that gut feeling. We've all had it when, the phone rings and it's grandma. And you pick it up and it's grandma. Or you meet somebody at a party and you go, I don't like that person. And then weeks later, something happens and you go, oh, I knew it. We've all had those experiences. We've all run out the house, got in the car, and then all of a sudden you're just like, oh, your wallet is on the kitchen counter. You run back in the house and you grab it. A lot of us, because we're not aware of it, we don't pay attention to it, we just think it's random thoughts. That is your intuition. It is the voice of your soul. It is part of you. And it's there to help you and guide you. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we do. So when that happens to you, it's not crazy. It's stop and go back and get the thing that's telling you to go and get your umbrella. Yeah.
It's amazing. Like for me, for instance, just something that pops into my head now is when I take my teenagers, they go, Mum, go and drop me off at the train station. I'm going to go catch up with friends in the city. Then I go, right. The minute I reverse out, my intuition will go, something's up. I was like, nah, Chloe, do you have everything? Have you got your water bottle? Have you got your phone? Have you got your charger? Have you got this thing that you need to give your friend? And they'll go, oh, no, I don't. And it stopped me from driving 10 minutes, 20 minutes to the train station and having to come all the way back because they need it. So it makes
does.
life so much simpler. Yeah.
And it happens. And even now that we've had this conversation and people have gone, oh, listeners, just be mindful now of how often you start to hear it happening, and just the fact that you've become aware of it, it'll be like an avalanche.
Absolutely. And that's it, right? Is the awareness. The more awareness you bring to this, the more your intuition will shine and the easier your life becomes. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. And it does. And I mean, I can't, I think it's just become so second nature for me now that I just don't doubt anything anymore. And I call them downloads, but it always happens when you're doing really mindless activities, pegging the washing on the line or sitting in traffic, or, those moments where you're not in your head, that's when those random thoughts come. So the minute you sort of can train yourself to go, oh, okay, that was a bit of left field, I need to listen, is where it'll all start getting much louder.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
So this has been a fascinating conversation, and I always love talking about all of this stuff. So your book is available on Amazon?
It is, yes. It's available on Amazon. It's on Kindle and an Audible. And then if you are listening and you've got a store or library, or you run what are these book clubs, whatever you're running, and you buy bulk books, you can also get it from Ingram Spark, which is a global distributor. So it is definitely out there into the world. And it's on a few different stores online as well. So yeah.
Fantastic. So if you want to grab a copy, or if you want to listen to it via Audible, Leonie's book, Spiritual AI, is available for that. If you want to learn more about Leonie, her website is leoniebranson.com.
Yes.
And I'll put all of those links and all of that information into the show notes.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you wanted to mention to the listeners that you think might be a good resource that you have?
First of all, Michelle, thank you so much for having me on.
You're
I've
welcome.
loved the conversation. I love having these conversations. I, for me, if you hop onto the website, I do have some free resources on the website you can go and grab. If you want to learn a little bit more about awareness and intuition and you love seeing things, like looking at things, so I've got a masterclass that you can grab from there. But I would highly recommend grab a copy of the book. I've read this book now, obviously because of the editing and everything that I've done with the book
Right.
and the writing it, obviously. But I've read this book about 10 times now, if not more. And every time I read it, I find value in it because we're human and we forget things. So I believe that this book it's written in such a way that it will give the reader um, help and support in every aspect of their life. Like there's chapters dedicated to awareness and healing, awareness and relationships, and obviously learning the foundation. Um, so yeah, go and grab the book because this book truly can become a book to live by, a manual for life, essentially, because it gives you the foundations. It helps you to connect back to who you truly are, and it empowers you. And then when you use this and you teach your kids, the ripple effect is there, right? So this is my mission. So if you hop on, grab the book, I promise you that you will not be the same person after you read that. And I don't take that promise lightly. So yeah, so go and grab the book. Thank you, Michelle, again for having me on. I really appreciate your time and your energy. It's been amazing.
Thank you. And as I always say to my listeners, if there's anything that resonated in this, if you got goosebumps, go back and listen to it again because that's your little sign. And definitely reach out to Leonie. If this conversation resonated with you, please follow Soul Room wherever you're listening. Share this episode with anybody that you think might like to hear it. And yeah, if you've got any comments that you want to leave, definitely leave them in the comments. If you've got questions for Leonie that you want me to forward on, and I'll definitely can get the answers for you, definitely leave those in the comments. And thank you for listening. Leonie, thank you for visiting. It was fantastic.
Thank you.